What's up, y'all? This is Pinky Freedom. That's P-I-I-N-K-Y for y'all who don't know. Making another video for y'all. Please like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. And also hype this video. I greatly appreciate all the love and support that you guys give me. Please help me grow my channel because y'all know that sis is out here working hard, okay? So please like, share, and subscribe and hype this video. And big kiss. Now we about to get into this video. This is gonna be my Mortal Kombat 2 movie review. Now, before I get into this, I want y'all to know it's not gonna go in any specific order because I took notes. And the reason I took notes because I felt like there were some important things I needed to share. Hopefully my video gets to the producers, the directors of this movie, because it's a lot to unpack in this review, okay? So it's not gonna go in any specific order per se, but I am going to discuss everything that I have in my notes. So if you see me jumping from this to that, please don't mind me. If you see me looking down, it's because I took notes. As you see, I took a lot of notes. So we about to get into this review. Hopefully this is not a super long video, but it's going to be kind of lengthy, okay? So before anything, I've been a fan of Mortal Kombat since I was a child. My favorite character is Kitana, okay? I love Kitana. That's one of the reasons why I ended up watching this movie. The first movie was alright. It wasn't as bad as people made it out to be, but it wasn't good either. Specifically because they did something that we don't need, add a new character. But you know what? The movies in the 1990s, they added new characters. Liu Kang was in the middle of the desert fighting an unnamed black person with you know, plaits in his head. Nobody knew that. They could have had Jax, you know. So this is not a new thing. This is just a Hollywood thing. So when I hear people complaining about Cole Young, it's like, hello, they did it before. They actually did it several times in their past movies, but nobody talks about that. But yeah, I'm gonna talk about it. So one thing that I mentioned is, you know, they add new characters. So Cole Young, you know, spoiler, he ends up dying. I wish instead of killing him off, that they would have, you know, because the first movie, if y'all seen it, he has a family, he has a daughter, he has a wife. So I felt like maybe they could have made it to where he didn't die, that he just, you know, maybe couldn't fight in the tournament or something, you know, work his way around that. But yeah, he ended up getting killed, y'all, okay? What I noticed also, there was no romance between Liu Kang and Kitana. We all know from the lore in the games that they have, you know, a connection. Also, Johnny Cage and Sonya. No flirting, no romance, nothing. I don't know if the directors of the movie, the producers of the movie were rushing for time, that they didn't include those elements. But that's what makes those characters them. It's the romance. It's the things that are personal. It was no personal things in this movie whatsoever. At least not from the original lore and story and backgrounds, okay? The music was okay. I just wish the theme song played a little bit more in the movie because, you know, once you hear that song, you know you're watching Mortal Kombat. But the movie was alright with the music that it had, okay? Yeah, just stop playing with Mortal Kombat fans. Y'all producers, y'all writers for movies, Hollywood, y'all need to stop playing with fans. If y'all want this to be a huge, you know, universe type of thing like Avengers or Justice League, when y'all make plenty of movies, y'all gonna have to start incorporating a lot, not a little bit, a lot of what the fans want to see, because ultimately the fans are the ones that want to see the movie. You know, other people that are not fans of Mortal Kombat, they may go see it one weekend for a good time, but they're not gonna be a continuous, you know, customer to see a movie like this, okay? So it's for the fans, so make the movies for the fans, okay? If you piece all the clips and trailers together before the movie came out, you would have basically seen the entire movie. Like literally all the trailers that came out before the movie came out, you basically saw the movie. They made the trailers where you saw everything. The only things you didn't see were the outcomes of the things that were happening in the trailers, like the outcomes of it. But the intros, the middle of the fights, the whole movie is already out there before you even see it. So that was very disappointing. Next time y'all need to make sure when y'all make a trailer, don't give out specific details. Make sure y'all edit it, the context of the trailers, because Kitana ends up, spoiler, Kitana ends up killing Shao Kahn. Yes, Kitana. And in the trailers, we see a dead body on the floor with their head cut off. Y'all put that in the trailer. Like, come on, who's editing this stuff? But whatever. I beg to differ. So yeah, it would have made sense for Cole Young to show up in the Netherrealm with Scorpion when he died, right? It would have made more sense. He didn't have nothing to do with Scorpion in the movie at all, and Scorpion was the reason he was in the first movie. It's just not making no sense. Like, it's not making any sense. It's not adding up. And then the first movie to the second movie is not a cohesive thing. I get it. They probably trying to try something brand new because the first movie people didn't like it. But y'all still need some type of cohesiveness, because y'all have a character from the old movie that shouldn't have been there in the first place in this movie. So y'all need to explain his story and his background. And y'all didn't do that. Y'all had two of the characters. Y'all had Scorpion and y'all had Cole Young. Once he died, he should have showed up in another realm as, with Scorpion, because that's his, from his lineage. None of that happened in the movie, which was very disappointing. There are some twists they could have added to the writing of this movie. I honestly feel like the writer was lazy and not too creative. A sixth grader could have wrote this movie. Literally. It was nothing. It wasn't even like story driven. It was just fights. It just didn't make sense to me, okay? And I'm a huge Mortal Kombat fan. And by the way, I'm very disappointed in some of the Mortal Kombat fans, the super fans that are making this movie out to be so great. Y'all know that it's not great, because a lot of y'all be making videos about the lore, how the lore is this and lore that, and then y'all say that this movie was good. How you gonna, on one movie, in one content that you make, say that the lore is this and lore that, and this based on the video games, but y'all say the movie is great? I don't know what the hell y'all drinking or what y'all smoking on, but nah. At this point, y'all should let Ed Boon, John Tobias, or the fans write the movie. Like, I'm dead ass serious. Y'all should just let us write the movie, okay? Because, yeah, the writer, it sucked. I'm sorry. They need to incorporate more lines from the games, like, your soul is mine. But I did love when Shao Kahn said, finish him, even though Kitana didn't finish him. If you hear finish him, typically what happens in the game, they finish the person. But it ended up not happening, which is another part of this that I'm going to get into later on. I also wrote in my notes, it's not as bloody or as gory as I expected it compared to the games. And it was not bad, honestly. Some horror films have more gore than this. I agree. It was gory, but not super gory. Like, people that saw the movie ahead of time at the early release said it was so gory. So it was not that gory. I've seen more gore. And to be honest, to be fair, the first movie, it wasn't as gory, but, Jack smashing Reiko's head, Nitara getting cut in half, it's basically the same thing in this movie. It's not, you're not going to get more gore than the last movie. So don't let these people hype you up and lie to you, okay? I'm telling the truth about this, okay? Shao Kahn didn't do his menacing laugh in the movie. That's part of his personality, that ha ha ha. He didn't do that. He did say finish him though, but he didn't do his menacing laugh. I get it that, Martin Ford, he did an amazing job being Shao Kahn. I'm not saying that he didn't do a good job, but the writers are the ones that ultimately failed this movie, because the actors are just playing the role that they were written for. So the writer should have been responsible for incorporating these little details, but they failed to do that. Okay? Yeah. There were no presence of any elder gods to establish rules, or anything, or interrupt anything. Mortal Kombat Annihilation had them, and they played a role in the movie. You cannot have a movie about rules about the tournament without the elder gods. It's just not making no sense. A standout in this movie was Baraka. Kitana, Johnny Cage. Those were my standout characters in this movie. For this movie. For the first movie, the standouts were Kano and Sub-Zero, okay? I feel like the characters should also need to stick to their costume color palettes. Kitana, Shao Kahn, and Liu Kang were good, but Sindel and Jade could have had better costumes as far as color palette and design based off the games. Every character in the game has a signature color and design to their look. Every single one of them. So I was disappointed in that. I also wrote in my notes, my biggest disappointment is that Mortal Kombat is about fighting. Every single character in the games are fighters. I don't like how they underline Raiden, Sindel, Quan Chi, Shang Tsung as fighters. Hollywood hires actors with no martial arts background for roles for fighters from a game and don't fight in the movies. That's just ridiculous. Like, Shang Tsung is a fighter. Quan Chi is a fighter. Raiden is a fighter. Yeah, I know Raiden is supposed to be the protector of the earth realm, but in the games he fight. They all are fighters. All the characters fight. So when y'all make these movies and y'all hire these actors that are elderly or don't have any martial art experience or can't fight at all, or don't have any movements, you do a disservice to people that want to see fighting. Like, that 1-2 step that Shang Tsung and Quan Chi did in this movie was stupid. Raiden ended up doing his little fly move, but didn't actually fight. It's just ridiculous, but whatever. They need to utilize the background, the backdrops, and wait a minute. I'm sorry. They need to actually utilize the backdrops and stage fatalities. I feel like that's something that they failed to do. Like, you're fighting in the pit. I mean, it kind of got utilized. They kind of got utilized, but I didn't think they utilized them right. Like, the pit, you're supposed to fall on the pit completely. First of all, you're supposed to be on the top of the pit, and someone should be coming down, falling into it. But that didn't happen, okay, in that fight. The Deadpool, like, come on now. Like, it just don't make no sense how y'all have the Deadpool, but didn't have any fucking, like, excuse my language, no skeleton arriving from the Deadpool when that person ends up dying in it. Like, it's just, a lot of details are missed, but whatever. Yeah. I feel like the story should have been better explained, the writing of the movie for both fans and just moviegoers. The story sucked. It sucked. It didn't have no weight to it. It was just fight. No storylines between any of the characters. Nothing. No details in anything. Okay? I rate this movie a 6 out of 10. The first movie would have been a 4 out of 10. Movies from the 90s would have been a 7 out of 10. Okay, that's my rating. Like I said, this is not in no order, so I'm giving y'all my rating now in the middle of this video. But yeah, that's my rating for this movie. Ludi Lin looks and acts way better as Liu Kang in this movie. Physically and facially, he embodies Liu Kang in this movie. But in the first movie, he did not. He was gaunt in the face and he was too skinny. But they actually nailed it this time. So there are some positives in this movie, and that's one of them. Okay, so there you go. Kano fits perfectly. Kitana embodied Kitana. She is Kitana. Okay, I think she's the best Kitana that we had in the 90s. That was a decent Kitana, but she was very under estimated. But this one here, she kicks ass and she looks the part as well. She is Kitana when I look at her physically and everything. And Max was born to play Liu Kang. Kung Lao. Oh my god. He was born for that role. He looks the part, he moves the part, he acts the part. Like, yeah, like Kitana, Liu Kang, and Kung Lao are the three that actually really embody these characters, from the looks, the movements, and everything. Okay? But yeah, I'm so shocked of how good Kung Lao was in this movie. Sindel could have been more menacing. She was just there, in my opinion. Shao Kahn was evil, but in a humane way. And when I say a humane way, he did show some emotion. You know, it was a scene where he told Kitana he shouldn't have to see his father die. So he was evil, but not just evil with force like in the games. But I actually didn't mind that. You know, Raiden irritates me, but he was better than the first movie. He irritates the crap out of me, but better than the first movie. Okay, it's just like, come on now. Like the way he speaks and stuff, the way he acts. In the first movie, he was a total a-hole. In this movie, he wasn't, because the majority of the movie, he was just floating around, levitating the entire movie. Whatever. Couldn't really get into Jade that much. The actress, she's nice, but I couldn't get into Jane. They never explained why she was bald in the movie, even though they said that they were going to explain it. They never explained it. I don't know if they cut the scenes out because they were running out of time. But yeah, Jade, I couldn't really get into her. Johnny, I think he did a great job for older version of Johnny, but wish he was a bit more egotistical. He did a good job to play an older version of Johnny. Yeah, like a retired version, which was what they were going for. But he lacked a lot of, you know, narcissistic, egotistic type of thing. He was, but he wasn't over the top with it. So yeah. King Jared was amazing in the beginning of the movie. I was not expecting him to fight as good as he did, but he did. And I enjoyed the fact that they didn't just use the fact that he just, you know, off screen he died or something and just created a narrative. No, they actually had him in the movie and fighting, you know, for his kingdom, and he ended up losing, of course. In the games, he's not even a playable character, but still, I can appreciate the fact that he was never a playable character, and they made him a character that fights in the movie. So I appreciate that. Little Kitana made me cry a bit. Oh my god, when she took her little ribbon from her father after he died, that scene right there made me tear up, but I wasn't boohoo crying. Jax was okay, not too much screen time, didn't even do a ground punch in his fights. Like, they're underutilizing these characters and their special moves. Like, come on now. I was expecting him to do the ground punch. He didn't do that. Okay, whatever. Scorpion and Nu barely acted, just fight was good. Oh, so they barely had any real acting. Like I said, they didn't have that many scenes in the movie. Basically, the only scene they had is what y'all saw in the trailers. Okay, it's just the extended version. Y'all basically seen the whole goddamn fight. You know, yeah. Like, Scorpion is one of the main big characters, probably the face of the franchise, just like Liu Kang, and they always underuse him, just like they did in the first movie. Funny moment, Baraka and Johnny swinging their arms, dancing, mimicking each other, and Johnny does a nut punch, was funny. That was funny. So they was basically like having a little funny moment. So it was a comedic relief. You know, the fight was hilarious, and the little scene with the little kid, the little Tarkatan kid, you know, Johnny was like, oh, that's ugly or something. Like, that was just horrible. That was funny as hell, because you don't, even if a kid looks ugly, you don't call them ugly. They're kids. But whatever, I get it. They're Tarkatan kids, okay? Bring back Scorpion's old snake spear coming from out of his hand. I want to see that, okay? Enough with the little chains and stuff. Just do this and have the snake come out of it, okay? Just do that, okay? Quan Chi and Shang Tsung had literally 3 lines the whole movie. Not much depth there. That's all I'm going to say about that. Baraka was fantastic. He surprised me the most because I didn't know they were going to give him much of a personality. They made him funny. And yeah, I love Baraka in this movie. He did a good job. He actually really did a good job. Kung Lao was phenomenal with the fighting. His dialogue was very short as far as acting, but he did the best out of everyone as far as fights, because he is probably the best martial artist in the movie, which is true. He kicked butt in that movie, and that fight scene between him and Liu Kang was probably the longest fight in the movie, because the fights were not that long. That was the longest one, even though we seen more than half of it in the clip that they put out online before the movie came out, which irritated me because I wanted it to be a surprise, but whatever. stupid me, I went and looked at the clip anyway. But yeah, that fight was phenomenal. He was a phenomenal actor. The main characters are Kitana, Shao Kahn, and Johnny Cage. But I think everybody knows that. Kitana had no dialogue or anything with her mother, Sindel, at all in this movie. No backstory there. This is what I'm saying. They lacking backstories. They lacking history. They lacking letting the viewers know who these people are. All they know is that they fight. They don't know anything about them. Like, how you have a movie with Sindel and Kitana and they have no interaction? I don't even think they had an interaction in the movie at all. It was one scene where Shao Kahn was threatening to do something to Sindel, and that was like the only little thing, but it still was no interaction between Kitana and Sindel at all in this movie. At all. It's just crazy. I'm glad they toned down the poetic talk that Liu Kang does in the first movie. However, Raiden still speaks the same, and it irritates me. Like, that whole poetic talk that Liu Kang was doing, it came off as bad acting, and it just didn't sound right, didn't look right. Like, just talk normal. You don't have to change the way you speak to play Liu Kang, okay? Kano was funny but underutilized and was better in the first movie. So he was very underutilized in this movie, but he was still funny. Okay, I wish they would have used more of him because he's actually a good actor. Especially since he did so very well in the first movie. Okay, the first movie actually had more a story than the second movie. Not saying it's better, but story-wise it is. So the first movie had more of a plot. Even though it wasn't the best movie, it had more of a plot than this movie did. This movie didn't really have a plot. It was just fight, go, this is the tournament, no explanation, no backstory, no nothing. Okay, so the first movie actually had something better than this movie. Okay, I wish they had added a bit more fantasy and campiness to the movie. Like, we need to see more fantasy. We need to see when they're doing their special moves that they have some type of effects to them and stuff. I felt like they lacked that a little bit. I mean, Shao Kahn did his little shoulder thing, you know, but for example, Jade teleports. It should have been like a mystical thing behind her when she does it, just like in the games, but they lacked a little bit of that. I also wrote in my notes, why do they keep needing to use multiple characters to take down one fighter? New needed nearly 4 people to fight him. In the first movie, they needed 2 people to kill Sub-Zero. Can y'all stop doing this? You make the other fighters look powerless. It makes him look more powerful than he should be. The levels of power should be respected because, for example, Shao Kahn is more powerful and he gets killed by one character. Goro, the last movie, gets killed by a rookie original character, which is true. Like, come on now. You're making other characters look weaker than they are by needing a group of them to attack one. No. Unless it's like the tag team thing y'all was trying to go for in the video games, in the movie, y'all should not be doing that because y'all underutilizing stuff. Like, come on now. It just don't make no sense. It don't make no sense. But I think this is all of my notes. I wrote a lot. But yeah, that's basically everything about the movie. You know, I basically, said everything. It would have made sense for Koyon to show up in the nether room. I think I said that. But yeah, it's like the movie should have been better. It should have been way better. But it's still a fun movie to watch. I appreciate the fights. I just wish the fights were longer. I wish they had more of a story. They said there was a lot of Easter eggs in the movie. However, I did not catch them. I did not go see it in IMAX because I went to the wrong theaters. But I plan on seeing it again in IMAX. So I also wrote in my notes, I said, you have characters like Shinnok, who is an elder god, an evil elder god, that may need help taking him down. So how do you guys write a script for a character like that when you make a character whose power should not be that strong need so many people to take him down? That would literally mean it would be impossible to kill someone like a Shinnok or a Shao Kahn. And I was referring to Noob Saibot. In this movie, he had 4 people take him down. Scorpion, Jade, Johnny Cage, and Kano. Like, come on now. That makes no sense. In the games, you don't even need that many people to take down. I think the only person is because she was super powered up was Sindel. I think in the story in the games, they needed almost everybody to take her down. But Noob Saibot is no Sindel. But whatever. It's just ridiculous. The second main character in this movie is Liu Kang, but they still didn't treat Liu Kang like the champion of Mortal Kombat. Like, I don't understand. That's another plot that they forgot to put in the movie. I understand using Kitana as the victor to win, I guess, because she's seeking revenge for what Shao Kahn did to her father, but it still don't make sense. And I'm a Kitana fan. I love that she did what she did in this movie. I love that she was the victor, but it still needs to make sense regardless of who your favorite character is. Kitana is amazing, but I feel like no. And then the way Liu Kang died, he didn't even die, he just ascended. He turned into a fire phoenix and ascended. Like, and then gonna say that his mission was to rescue Kung Lao a second time? No, your mission is supposed to be champion of Mortal Kombat. It's just, these are the stupid things that writers in Hollywood be doing that makes no sense. It's not making no sense. So, for those Mortal Kombat fans out there that saying, it was a good movie, how could y'all call this a good movie when characters are being dismantled from their original lore? Like, it's not making any sense, y'all. Okay, Sonya being able to kill a Banshee is crazy to me. Just like Ko Young killing Goro literally makes no sense. That I agree. It's like, how is Sonya gonna take down somebody like a Sindel? How is Ko Young in the first movie could kill a Goro? Goro is supposed to be like a sub boss, first of all, prior to him you reaching the final fighter, which is typically a Shang Tsung or Shao Kahn. So Goro is supposed to be the champion of Mortal Kombat, but they kill him like it was nothing in the first movie. But then these ultra powerful people are getting killed by less or weaker counterparts. It's not making no sense. You know, if Sonya was to win that fight with Sindel, it should have been, that's when you utilize the fact that she needs help. How is it that Sonya don't need help to kill a Sindel, but y'all need 4 people to kill a Noob Saibot? It don't make sense, y'all. Some of y'all Mortal Kombat fans are saying this movie is good. Y'all need to wake up. Wake up and go play the games again, okay? It's just, ugh. Okay, the best fatality in the first movie was Kung Lao versus Nitara, okay? That was the best one. And the second one was Kitana on Shao Kahn. Okay, that little thing she did with the fan and cut his head off in pieces, spectacular. Okay, I wish Sonya or Kitana did the kiss of death, but they didn't. They should have did one of those moves, a kiss of death. I feel like Sonya should have did the kiss of death. She didn't do that. Like, come on now, that would have been so awesome. The movie moves very fast. It's a very fast-paced movie. It's not slow. Compared to the first movie, it's faster. Like the pacing. Okay? Plots are not explained very well. Basically, no story structure or committed to the actual lore. Okay? They never explain why Jade was bald. I said that. Sonya versus Sindel fight was very quick. Sindel did not actually fight. She just moved her arms back and posed and screamed literally twice. No hair moves or levitating, just screams. Like, you know, in the game she does hair moves. She grabs you by her hair and she starts swinging you. She throw projectiles from her mouth. She levitates. None of that. I just feel like they were lazy. I don't know if it was a budget problem or they're just lazy making this movie. I don't know. It just don't make no sense. They had Johnny Cage, spiraling in the air fighting Baraka. Like, it's just not making no sense. Okay. Kitana was the best in the movie. Her fatality was the best in the movie and true to the games. So I agree with that. So it is some positives. Okay, like I said before. Kitana versus Johnny. No one dies, yet she wins the fight. She wins, but nobody dies. One that's fatality. And it just don't make no sense. Like, this is why I feel like they should have added extra characters that are not as important, but still Mortal Kombat characters, so you will have a reason to kill somebody. But they didn't do that, okay? Jax versus Jay. No one dies. Jax wins. Another one, just like Kitana and Johnny Cage, where no one dies. They just fight. And that fight was also very short. Another thing, you don't see that much blood action. That's why I say when these people overreact and say they were so gory, you don't even see a lot of blood when they're hitting the characters or when they killing each other and stuff. Like, you see one time Shao Kahn got sliced, King Jared, but for the most part it wasn't bloody or gory like people made it out to be. Okay. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Cole Young should have got hooked onto the hook and then dumped into the Deadpool instead of Shao Kahn just smash his head and drag him in there. Another thing, like, he should have uppercut him, got put on the hook, and dropped him and arise with a skeleton dead. That would have made more sense and looked better for the movie, but they didn't do that. Alright. Don't understand why Kung Lao slices Raiden's throat. It just don't make no sense to me. Raiden and Shang Tsung do not actually fight. Raiden just flies towards him, and that was it. And then we don't even know what happens to Shang Tsung. We don't even know what happens to him. We don't know. I'm reading my notes, by the way, y'all. Baraka was very funny. Him versus Johnny Cage, once again, nobody dies. So you have several fights where neither one of the characters dies. Okay, so that's just like, come on now. And then Shao Kahn had the most fights in the whole entire movie. Like, they should have added extra characters where he shouldn't have to have been the one to do all the fighting. And it would have been smart for the costume, because I heard the actor was like 6 hours putting on prosthetics and stuff. Like, y'all gotta be smart and logical when it comes to making these movies. Y'all have the resources. We have so many characters that all of them are not main characters. You can literally pull a character from the lore who is not that important and kill them. That's all y'all have to do. But whatever. Jade versus Kitana was a sparring match. It was a boring fight, in my opinion. Liu Kang got killed by Shao Kahn, but didn't die in a conventional way. He just turned into flames in a sense. I already explained that. King Jared versus Shao Kahn. We basically seen the entire fight in the trailers. Okay? They resurrect Sindel after she died with no explanation at the end. So they resurrected her again. She just, one scene popped up and she was just there, and we don't know why she's there. She died when Sonya killed her, and then she reappears with no motive or nothing. Not making no sense if we saw her earlier die. But y'all don't give an explanation as to why she's alive again. My goodness, I can't believe there are Mortal Kombat fans out here that says this movie is so good when it's not making no sense, like their brains. Okay? Kano barely fought in this movie. That's another thing. Kano barely did anything in this movie. He used his laser on some guards, and that's basically it. He got his butt kicked by Noob, and Johnny had to save him. Quan Chi was a background character, just like, he was a background character. He didn't really play a role. He just resurrected Kung Lao and Kano, and barely resurrected Kano. And another thing, so Johnny gets his little power, his little shadow green energy kick towards the end of the movie. That sucks too. It's just stupid. It's just ridiculous. Liu Kang and Kung Lao, we seen the whole fight in the clip. I already discussed that. I hate that Liu Kang used Kung Lao hat instead of using his own fatality to kill him. very sudden. Like, he should have used his own special move to do a fatality. He should not have used Kung Lao's hat to do it. And then that same fatality we seen Kung Lao do on Nitara in the last movie. Like, y'all getting lazy and y'all not creative enough. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's the truth. The stages were nice, but I wish the jungle scene with Kitana and Jay was like the living forest. Another thing, they lack a lot of campiness and magic in this creating of the movie, okay? Instead of fighting on top of the pit and falling down into the pit, they basically were teleported to the bottom of the pit. So they had to fight at the bottom of the pit, and spikes were just randomly popping up. But in my opinion, they should have fought at the top of the pit. That's the whole purpose of having a pit in the first place. And then somebody dies and gets thrown down there. But they didn't do it. Okay? Noob and Scorpion's fight was cool. It was cool. I think that was like the second longest fight in the movie. It was alright. Jade had no business in the Netherrealm. Plot sucked there. She just showed up. She just popped up out of nowhere. She didn't have no real motivation for going there. She just popped up out of nowhere. And then after that, we see Jade no more in the movie after that. Like, she just disappears. No explanation, nothing. Like, it's just a lot of... you know what's happening in this movie? There are no explanations to anything. That's the problem. It's like we have to guess or use our imagination of what's happening. You know? It's just stupid. Shao Kahn was very menacing. He cheated by stealing Raiden's power, so it's not Mortal Kombat. Exactly. They made Shao Kahn become immortal when he's already strong as hell and don't need that crap, and cheated during a Mortal Kombat game, and then no Elder Gods to stop him from cheating when he's disqualifying himself by not, you know, going with the rules of Mortal Kombat. Like I said, this person who wrote this movie, y'all need some work to do, okay? The amulet was taken by Jax, then he gets killed by Shao Kahn, and he gives it to Noob to protect it in the Netherrealm so that Shao Kahn can continue to cheat his way in the tournament to win. That's another thing. And then at the end, once Liu Kang died, which he was the last fighter, all of a sudden, Kitana becomes part of Earthrealm, and then in the sky they magically, because you know you see the scoreboard in the sky, you magically see her switch to Earthrealm to fight Shao Kahn to be on their side to win. And then the reason she got freed because she was chained up to a town, a wall in the town, you know, for disobeying Shao Kahn. She gets freed by Sonya because Sonya didn't die all the way. She just got knocked the crap out by Shao Kahn, was laying on the floor unconscious, and she woke up from her unconsciousness, used her little power rings to get to get Kitana loose so she's able to fight. The plots here just is just stupid. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to keep using the word stupid, but that's how I feel about this movie. Raiden is powerless and floating through the duration of the movie. He's just powerless, floating in the air, not acting. That's an easy way to not get an actor to act in the movies. Just have him float around the entire movie. Like, whatever. Johnny was funny, but certainly not the best fighter. We all know Johnny is not the best fighter, even in the game, so that didn't surprise me. Hollywood needs to do research and make the movies for the fans, because the fans are the ones who want to watch this kind of movie. Non-fans, it would make sense to them what the movie is about. It wouldn't make sense, what the movie is about, because they wouldn't get it. But the real people that watches these movies are the fans. So if y'all not making it for the fans, y'all might as well not make these movies, okay? They lacked a lot of special moves, could have been more creative. So we all know that the characters have more than one special move. They just utilize one move. I'm tired of seeing Sonya use her power rings. There's other things she could do. I explained earlier that Sindel does the hair thing. No, all she did was scream. Like, they have more than one moves. Jax has a ground punch. I would have loved to see what Liu Kang did in the first movie, the bicycle kick. He didn't do it in this movie. He did a flying kick, but not a bicycle kick. Y'all know, the fans know, is a difference. So, yeah, I just feel like the movie was just, it seemed rushed and lazy to me. Liu Kang fire dragons were not fatalities, okay? They were not a fatality. So don't think that that was a fatality move that he was doing, because it wasn't. Okay? Besides Baraka, they were supposed to have a monster sub-boss, and they didn't. They were supposed to have like a Goro, Kentaro, a Shiva. They didn't have none of that. Okay? It's just, like, come on now. These are basic necessities for a Mortal Kombat movie. Okay? And they didn't have these things. Fights not long enough and should have had 2 rounds. Okay? That's self-explanatory. Each fighter had about 2 fights, but it felt like it wasn't enough fighting. They said it was a lot of fighting, but it didn't really feel like that to me. I know it was a lot of fights in the movie, but it just didn't feel like it. Okay? Each fighter had about 2 fights. Okay? It barely had a plot or a story for each character. Okay? The tournament started without any build-up or progression to the fights. They get teleported and fight, and it ends quickly. That's self-explanatory. The teleporting irritated me, because I'm like, come on now. The dialogues were not written that well, and they basically had like 2 liners per character a scene. No real conflict or conversation. It just seemed as if they jumped into one scene from another within seconds. That's how it felt watching this movie. I felt as if Cole Young should have fought maybe a Shang Tsung or a Quan Chi instead of Shao Kahn, because Shao Kahn should have been like the boss character towards the end of the movie. He should not be the one killing everybody. Like, come on now. Kitana was the best character next to Johnny from start to finish. I understand why they made Kitana the victor for Mortal Kombat, for revenge for her father and to free her mother. So I guess that was the plot. I'm guessing. I don't know. See, I have a lot of notes. I'm reading from my notes, okay? It's a lot. It's a lot of disappointment, okay? It was better than the first movie. However, it lacked a lot of essence still. Good things about this movie: costumes were nice, the scenery was nice, the pacing was not too slow or too fast. It didn't feel like a 2-hour movie. I appreciate King Jared having a fight instead of just being killed off screen, and actually gave him a role in the movie. I like how they humanized Shao Kahn to a degree instead of just making him evil without a purpose. I appreciate some of the fighting moves from the games. So those are positive things. What I wish for a 3rd movie, if they make one: add animality to some, not all characters. I think that would be interesting. Have a sub-boss and a monster character, okay? Because we know Mortal Kombat has those type of characters. Incorporate more special moves. Each fighter has more than just one in the game. Okay, producers, listen up. Okay, y'all need to look at this video for reviews so y'all know what to do. Okay, in the next movie, hire all actors as fighters with martial backgrounds where it makes sense into a fighting game. Hire actors that can actually fight or pull stunts. Stop hiring these people that only do a 1-2 step, and y'all create a narrative or write a story based on the actor. No, y'all need to write a story and find a actor that could do it. Okay? Because this is ridiculous. Every single fighter in Mortal Kombat are fighters. Okay? Every single one of those characters fights. Yeah. Have more realms to explore, but just more colorful as well. Especially Edania should be beautiful, not dark tone in colors. Each realm should have a vibe and theme to them. Okay, I feel like Edania, they were kind of lazy. You know, Edania in the video games is like the Garden of Eden. That's where the idea Edania came from. So it needs to be some flowery there. It needs to be beautified. And it just wasn't that. It just looked like an old kingdom. Whatever. The dialogue and story should be 5 times better. Please use MK game story modes as references. Y'all have so much lore, so much to pull from, and y'all are not using it or utilizing them well at the very least. Have some more characters to fight and choose fan faves to stand out and others that are not as popular. as a death character, but at least we will have a variety of characters that actually make sense. Okay, the main characters, the most popular ones, survive, but you can also pull from some characters that are not as popular that you could use as characters that will die. It's just that simple. You know, y'all should have never killed Melina in the first movie. Now how y'all gonna bring her back? Okay, especially if Melina's a twin. She was a black lady in the first movie. No, nothing against race or something, but now y'all have Kitana as an Asian woman. So how is she gonna be her twin coming in if y'all was to utilize her again? Y'all would have to create another Melina with Adeline Rudolph playing both characters. She has to play both characters, just like The Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan. She played two characters, twins. Okay, that's how y'all gonna have to do it, because come on now, it's not making no sense. Or a good idea, y'all can have somebody that looks similar to Adeline Rudolph and just wear the mask. That way we can't tell is actually a different person, and use the prosthetics on the teeth to make it look like, okay, this is her twin. Other than that, see, I'm throwing out some good, intelligent ideas out there. Y'all producers and writers of Mortal Kombat, if you already wrote the movie, rewrite it again after watching my review. Please. Y'all gonna need it. Alright, these are the characters I want to see return in the next movie. Kitana, Liu Kang, Kung Lao, Shao Kahn, Baraka, Kano. Sorry, I'm not big of a Johnny Cage fan, okay? So, I didn't really put him down there. Characters I want to see new. Bring back Melina, but an actual twin of Adeline Rudolph. Will have to work twice as hard to play the role. You know, I just discussed why earlier. I want to see Fujin, the Wind God, Raiden's brother. Okay, Nightwolf is interesting. Y'all could do a lot of things with Nightwolf, especially he could do an animality, which we are lacking in the movie. Bring back Sub-Zero, Kuai Liang, Shiva, Cetrion, an elder god, Shinnok. That way you could have Cetrion and Shinnok, because Cetrion is Shinnok's sister. I want to see Rain. I want to see Ermac. I want to see Tanya, Curtis Stryker, Reptiles, Koda Khan, Cyrex Insector, Smoke, Ashra, and Serena. Now, the reason why I named so many is because you can literally kill off a lot of these people and the fans won't be mad. Just use the main characters, like for example, Curtis Stryker, you can use him just for a scene to kill him. That's it. But at the very least, you have more characters and you don't have to keep killing people that should not be killed in the movies. That's how you do that. You underutilize characters that are not main characters. You kill them off, but still protect the ones that you want, that are popular. That's how you do it, okay? That's how you write a movie. Okay, this may seem like a lot of characters, but some are supporting roles, others are main roles, and some just have serve a purpose in the background to fight and die. It could happen if you incorporate the script and dialogues well enough. It could work. Okay, that's just what I said. Another thing I noticed in the movie, Kano has no metal plate in his eye. Ugh. No skeleton in the Deadpool when Cole dies. Shao Kahn should not have needed any gold-like power from an amulet to fight. Is messed up the movie. Like, he should not have needed an amulet. First of all, the amulet is not even used for that in the game. The amulet is to store Shinnok within it, not suck Raiden's power, but whatever. Okay, this is the best to least fights in the movie that I wrote down. The best fight, so it's best to less best fights in the movie. In this one, Kung Lao versus Liu Kang, Kitana versus Shao Kahn, Jared versus Shao Kahn, Nu versus Scorpion, Kitana versus Johnny, Baraka versus Johnny, Cole versus Shao Kahn, Jax versus Jade, Sonya versus Sindel, Liu Kang versus Shao Kahn, Kitana versus Jade, Jax versus Shao Kahn. And that order is my favorite to non-favorite, okay? Petty fights between Quan Chi and Shang Tsung versus Johnny and Sonya. It wasn't actually a real fight, okay? Kano barely had a fight in the movie, just participated in getting the amulet. He kills some guards, that's all he did. Baraka should have had a second fight, you know, but he kills a guard too. But I feel like Baraka did such an amazing job that he should have had another fight. This is why y'all should add more characters for them to have somebody to fight. But Baraka only had that one fight and then killed a guard or something. You know? I wish they had another character for Kung Lao to fight in the movie, to have two fights. So Kung Lao was that amazing that they should have had another fight leading up to Liu Kang where Kung Lao won, you know, because he's the actual martial artist in this whole movie, and he does an amazing job and amazing stunts, and then the character itself is amazing. But the writers can't write for crap. You know, it's just ridiculous. Like, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. But this is my review. Hopefully, you know, you guys who are Mortal Kombat fans will rethink to think that that movie was good. Like I said, it's a 6 out of 10. And it should have been, at the very least, an 8 or a 9. So that was my review for the Mortal Kombat 2 movie. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to this video. Also, hype this video. And also, I want to hear what y'all got to say in the comments down. If I missed anything, please let me know. But until next time, this is Pinky Freedom. Big kiss. Bye.